Hawks lose heartbreaker. Iowa drops the Cy-Hawk Trophy back to rival Iowa State.
On the campaign trail, Iowa representatives use the Cy-Hawk game to campaign for the election. And later, a small town comes together in a colorful way.
And it may be September, but it still feels like August. I'll have this week's weather forecast for you coming up later in the broadcast.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Monday, September 9th. I'm Jordan Tovar.
And I'm Sydney Goldberg.
And the third member of our team, Draven Murdy, is live outside today to tell us today's weather story.
Draven, it was a cool day at the game on Saturday, but it doesn't look like it's going to last, does it?
That's right, Sydney. While it may be September, it still feels like August, as the weather outside hasn't quite gotten the memo. Right now, it's around 53 degrees. Looking at campus today, it should hang around the high 70s for most of the day. It'll go towards the low 50s later tonight, and it should be a high of 83 for tomorrow. But I'll have more of this week later in the broadcast. But for now, I'll swing it back to the studio to talk about the whirlwind Cy-Hawk game from this past weekend.
Sports, politics, and tradition converge this weekend for the Cy-Hawk game between in-state rivals, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Iowa State Cyclones.
DITV reporters Brady Barron and Colin Carruthers were on the field for Cyclones' 20-19 upset over the Hawkeyes.
Despite Iowa's loss to the Cyclones, they controlled much of the game and even went into halftime with a 13-0 lead.
After a loss like this, it's tough. There's not much you can say to make anybody feel better.
The Hawkeyes had a couple of missed opportunities in the first half. They had the chance to punch a couple touchdowns in, but had to settle for field goals both times.
I mean, we had 4 tries. We can't just come up empty there. We got to find a way.
Quarterback Cade McNamara ended the game with just 99 yards and 2 interceptions. Despite the struggles on offense, Coach Ferentz has no plans to make a change at quarterback.
We expect him to be our quarterback and expect some ups and downs. I've been saying it pretty consistently. He's still working his way back into shape.
Flipping to the defensive side of the ball, the Hawkeyes prevented the Cyclones from touching down in the first half, but they gave up unexpected big plays in the second half.
It's a 60-minute game, and you're only as good as your last play.
The Cyclones had the ball last, and they took a 30-yard deep shot to Jalen Knoll to set up a game-winning 54-yard field goal.
We're just competing on that last drive, and I mean that's what happens when you compete. You can't bat 1,000 sometimes.
But Colin, despite losing this game in heartbreaking fashion, one Hawkeye soared above all the rest in this battle.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson, despite all the offensive struggles, gave Iowa an early lead. It was just a week ago where Johnson scored 2 touchdowns in one half to begin the season, and even though it's only week 2, Iowa's number 2 is already playing some of his best football.
He's played well for us the last 2 years, but he's playing at a much higher level right now. Part of that's maturity. His focus is better. He's practicing better. I think he's got experience and maturity.
Johnson came out swinging, recording a 27-yard rushing touchdown to open up the scoring in the first quarter, as well as a 3-yard rush to the goal line in the third quarter. By the time the clock struck 0, Johnson would rack up 187 yards in total, averaging 7.5 yards per carry. The running back also recorded 3 receptions, which was the second most on the day for the Hawkeyes. And even with the stellar performance from RB1, he still felt he didn't do enough to help propel his team to a victory.
It's a team sport, so it's not just me. So it's everybody. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's hurt by this. So I'm not just gonna be the selfish one and then just be, oh yeah, I'm frustrated with my team because we lost. We all lost.
With Caleb Johnson's success and growing number of rushes, Iowa State became more prepared for the run game, eventually slowing it and the Iowa offense down completely as they fell late to the Cyclones.
And Brady, even though Caleb Johnson felt like he didn't do enough at times, when he did make great plays, the crowd was booming here at Kinnick, and anytime this Cyhawk game is played, it brings a packed crowd at any location.
Yeah, that's right, Colin. It felt like everyone in the state was tuned into this matchup, including the state's politicians. We're going to send it to DITV's news director, Johnny Valtman, who was at a special tailgate.
Yes, guys, in the buzz of the Cyhawk game, blood all the way into Coralville, where U.S. House of Representatives from Iowa hosted a tailgate with the election in just under 2 months.
In addition to this being a great game day between black and gold and red and gold, we have a real battle. A battle between red and blue.
Hosted by Iowa's District 1 Representative Marionette Miller Meeks the day after her birthday, all 4 of Iowa's representatives were at the tailgate. The 3 spoke about the importance of re-electing Miller Meeks.
So everybody in Congress goes to her, and that's healthcare. She's a doc. She knows what's going on.
We cannot afford to see this district. We need to send Mariette's common sense leadership back.
Come November, the Iowa Republicans are looking to keep all 4 of the state's representative seats red, as stiff competition is expected in District 1 and 3.
We're a team, and you see how great it is. The whole delegation works together and does what's best for Iowa. That's what will change Washington, D.C., isn't it? And Marionette's just the one to do it.
Pro-Palestine protesters stood outside the event, and 4 were inside the event before being escorted out for disrupting the speakers.
Just like you just saw. I appreciate your comments. I'm happy to talk with you at the end. So we have...
After Q&As with athletes and the crowd, Miller Meeks talked about her vision of what Iowa and America should be.
We want to make our districts and our nation and our country the best place to be, raise a family, grow.
Now, before the game or tailgates, there was a first step towards the Cyhawk game that took place Friday morning. DITV's Assistant News Director, Jace Bertrand, has the story of the tradition done to deliver the game ball to Kinnick.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm here at the Tama Toledo Country Club, where some Hawkeyes and Cyclones are getting together to give back to the community.
Cadets from the University of Iowa ROTC gathered one day before the Cyhawk game to accept a symbolic game ball from the Iowa State ROTC. This tradition has been carried out by both groups for 35 years. Starting at Kinnick Stadium, the cadets traveled to Williamsburg, Marengo, and Belle Plaines, supporting local food banks and visiting nearby schools before receiving the ball in Tama.
The intent is to bring the spirit of the game out into the local communities. And we're going to recognize the students who have been identified as some of the standout people within their schools.
It's great to get out in the community. The cadets and the kids at the schools and the veterans at the veteran home get a lot out of it.
The cadets ran a combined 12 miles over the duration of the trip. Students from local schools were also led in chants and exercises to prepare them for the big game.
It's just a great start to our school year. It's one of our favorite events, and it really gets the momentum going forward.
The kids love it more, especially the younger ones. The younger they are, the more they love it. They jump a ton of excitement.
After handing off the game ball, cadets from both schools were allowed to mingle, allowing for some banter between rivals.
I feel like Iowa's carrying the energy today. I don't know. Y'all are slacking a little bit. I don't know about that one. You're not doing much with us. I guess we'll see tomorrow, though. We might be carrying more energy than you guys. Hawks by a million. We'll see.
And regardless of how the battle will end on Saturday, both groups of cadets are looking forward to carrying on the tradition. From the Tama Toledo Country Club, Jace Bertrand, DITV.
Election day is quickly approaching as the first debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump is coming up. Joining us in the newsroom is DITV reporter Avery Arns to give us updates on tomorrow's anticipated debate.
Thanks, Jordan. The debate will be held at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, and like the debate in 2020 and the most recent one in June, there will be no live audience. Some of the other regulations introduced this year include a muted microphone for the candidate not speaking, no opening and closing statements, and questions asked only by the moderator. Harris's campaign released a statement fighting back against the muted microphones, claiming that she will be disadvantaged by the format, which the campaign claims will shield Trump from exchanges with Harris. Trump, in an interview with Sean Hannity on September 4th, spoke on the upcoming debate, saying, quote, "When I had Biden, you and I had the same discussion, and I let him talk, I'm going to let her talk." The debate will be monitored by ABC News anchor David Muir and will be televised at 8 p.m. Central Time. Back to you in the studio.
A man was shot in Lynn County Saturday morning. A 39-year-old man entered a home in Walford, Iowa, seeking help for a gunshot wound to the face at 6:30 a.m. He was then taken to a local hospital and is currently being treated for serious injuries. The investigation is ongoing. The second annual Color Run and Walk fundraiser took place this weekend in Shoeyville. DITV's Sam Kupris has the story on how this small town came together in a unique way.
The Color Run and Walk fundraiser is a way for the Shoeyville community to get together and get colorful. The Color Run and Walk fundraiser is a 1-mile course where participants are covered in colored powder.
Oh, the Color Run? I think this is wonderful. I mean, it's a beautiful morning, and who wouldn't want to be out having some fun?
The main goal of the fundraiser is to raise money for Shoeyville's Playground Project that looks to add a new playground in their community.
There's no playground in our community, so just really bringing that to life in our area and just bringing people together is kind of the goal.
The volunteers of the Playground Project are excited for the positive impact that the new playground will offer.
This could be something that would give back to the community for generations, right? If we keep it up and we maintain it.
Parents are hopeful that this new addition to the community will give their kids a chance to have a place to develop during their childhood.
It's just great to have things in the community for the kids to do, and having young ones as well makes it fun to be like, hey, let's go to the playground, hang out.
The members of the Shoeyville Playground Project are hoping for construction to start this fall. From Shoeyville, Iowa, I'm Sam Kupris, DITV.
Now let's go back out to Dravin, who will give us the weather forecast for the week ahead.
Thanks, Jordan. While it cooled down just a little bit over the weekend, we're getting one final taste of that summer heat. It's expected to come back tomorrow with a high of 83, follow up on Wednesday with a high of 85. Thursday continues that trend with a high of 87, and then Friday it cools down just a little bit with a high of 85. It seems like we won't be headed into a cool September just quite yet. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, Sydney, certainly a disappointing weekend if you're a fan of Hawkeye football, but I think if you're a fan of some other Hawkeye sports, you might have seen something different.
Yeah, some Hawkeye soccer and volleyball took place this weekend. The Iowa women's soccer team pushed through some early struggles to take down an undefeated Baylor Bears team on senior night. The Hawkeyes came out quick and kept the ball on the offense for the majority of the first half, giving them many opportunities to score. They would total 11 shots in the first half but could not finish the attacks. After a very disconnected start to the game, they would rack up another 10 shots in the second half and finally struck the back of the netting. Iowa would score 3 goals, including one off a penalty kick, to give them the 3-0 win in an always important senior night.
You try to tell them, hey, it's just one day and it's more about the season, but it's still emotional. They've had a great career here, so I'm really proud of them.
Volleyball had their home opener on Friday, squaring off against San Jose State in the first game of the Hawkeye Invitational. Iowa came out of the gate struggling, losing their first set 25-16, and the Spartans controlled the net, and Iowa was struggling to stay consistent. Iowa put up a fight the second set but came up short but snagged the third set. After keeping pace in set 4, the Spartans ran away, winning the fourth set of the match. Iowa's younger roster led to some of the mistakes that bled into the loss.
They went and dug more balls than we did, and so they didn't hesitate. We had a lot of hesitation. We have a lot of new people next to each other, so they tend to hesitate right now, and you can't do that against a veteran team who's not hesitating.
Shaking off their first loss of the season, the team returned Friday night to take on Delaware in the seesaw match. The teams exchanged sets, including taking turns blowing each other out in the third and fourth set. With the match on the line, Iowa was able to maintain their momentum from set 4 to win the final set. Iowa would finish the weekend with a win against Saturday night against Cal Baptist.
Well, Sydney, certainly an exciting weekend for Hawkeye sports.
It definitely was, Jordan.
And thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at dailyiowan.com.
For Draven Murdy, Sydney Goldberg, and I'm Jordan Tovar, we'll see you again on Wednesday morning right here on DITV.
What did it feel like? How bad?
Oh, that's okay.